Good evening, how we doing? Just gonna have a drink of water while I'm waiting for you guys to get logged in. I've been back to back all night. Buzzing though, absolutely buzzing. My black country accent came out then, didn't it? My Brummin accent, buzzing. I'm pumped tonight because I always feel like this when I've just had a group call with the clients. Hey Kerry, good evening. The 𝗯𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗶𝗃𝗹, that's short for Women's Wealth Accelerator Mentorship. Loving the new branding. Oh, thanks Kerry. I always feel like this when I've just got off client calls with the 𝗯 ladies because there's so much energy on the calls and there's so many ideas being bounced around and hey Nixie, again, you're going to be sick of me. And there's been so much good stuff that I'm going to share with you. So if you're feeling a bit shit, if you're feeling a bit down, if you're feeling a bit blur, or you're feeling worried or anxious or uncertain about what's going on in the world, I am going to make your freaking day. I promise you. That is my promise. That's bold, isn't it? My promise, you're going to leave this feeling far better than when I found you. I'm going to actually have a drink now because I keep talking and I've not actually put my lips around this yet. Oh, that's better. I haven't shut up for the last couple of hours. I haven't even had time to put this drink in my mouth. I haven't had dinner. Hey Leah, again. I'm more of a dab because I've not had dinner yet. I've had a crazy busy day. We got a puppy. I don't know if you guys saw this, but let me tell you while you guys are getting logged in. So James and I had a break-in a few months ago, back in November, at home, where we are in Spain. Hey Jackie, again. And it shook us up a little bit because it just made us feel a bit unsafe, and we started looking into getting a proper protection stroke security dog. Hey Becky. And we searched because it had got to be like a reputable company because, you know, this is a dog and a dangerous dog, could be potentially a dangerous dog. So we knew we wanted a German Shepherd. We looked at different police forces that train them up for you. And we chose our baby, and I called him Jerry Lee. Hey Jessie, again. So Jerry Lee, I don't know if any of you have seen this film, hey Karina, but it's a great time to watch it because lockdown, isolation, nothing else to do. It's called K911. Hey Karen, how you doing? Hey Jennifer again. It's quite an old film, but brilliant, about a police dog, and it's a proper pull on your heartstrings, like you'll have a good cry, but it's a feel good as well. It's a good film, and it was my favourite film when I was a little girl, when I was growing up, because I always loved dogs, as you know. And the dog in it was this German Shepherd, and he was named Jerry Lee. So I've always said from being a little girl, I want a dog, a German Shepherd, a big German Shepherd, highly trained, really intelligent dog called Jerry Lee. When we had the break-in last year, I was like, I'm getting Jerry Lee, that's it, I'm getting him. And we work at home, and you know, so we can have a big dog, and we can put all the work in that he needs exercise-wise. Oh, Leah, you know the movie. Loads of people have been going, Jerry Lee, what's all that about? Not many people got it. So who else has seen the movie? Comment in the chat box if you know which movie I'm referring to. I think it was called K911 or something like that. But so Jerry Lee arrived today, and he's meant to be in school, full-time school. Hey, Randy again. He's meant to be in school in like intense training to be a protection dog, but obviously you can't go to school, everything's on lockdown, so we've been homeschooling. So you mummies out there that have been homeschooling your babies, I've been homeschooling my fur baby. We haven't started him today just because we know that it's a big thing for him to come to us, and he's getting used to his new home, but we start next week. So every day we've got these courses to watch online and what we've got to do so that he doesn't fall behind when he gets to school. So what else has been happening? Listen to this. So last week, and this is proof to anybody that's thinking, oh God, winter's coming, everything's going to collapse. What am I going to do? My business can't thrive in these climates. This is proof that it can. Last week, I got my actual figures right down here. Last week, against our target as a business, we did triple, just under. We were $1,000 off tripling our target for last week. When everything was going crazy, when the world was going mad, and I said this to you this time last week. So it's about this. It's about spotting the opportunity and doing what we need to, and that's what this video is. I can't even talk. That's what this video is about tonight. It's about how you can make sure your business thrives in these times, not just survives. Let me adjust the camera a little. And how you can create crazy success in crazy times, because it's possible for you. So I'm calling this the Corona Survival Kit for online businesses, and I'm going to talk you through my 5-step process. This is a 5-step process that I used to create that sort of success last week, and what I'm encouraging the people I work with to do. And I want to share something with you. One of my one-to-one clients, and she's actually said to me, she said, you can share this, Michelle. She said, but when I hit my goal at the end of the month, I'm going to let you use my name to share it, because I'm going to be happy and proud for you to share this. Because she's so hard on herself. Like, most people would already be happy and proud of this, because here's what she's done. This lady, she's a course creator and a coach, an intuitive and very deeply spiritual woman who just pioneers manifestation and some of the ways that she describes creating your reality. And oh my God, she's a beautiful soul. And she really comes from a place of contribution and serving. And of course, when the world is in so much fear and uncertainty, as a woman of light and power, she's stepped up and gone, right, how can I serve on a larger scale? She's homeschooling a boy. She's a single mum. She's a great mum that cares deeply about her child's education. She's doing life like we all are. She's got people that she's no doubt worried about with the virus and all that stuff going on. She sent me a message this morning that said, Michelle, I have just in the last 2 days, so she had a $35,000 day from scratch, just boom, I'm deciding this is my offer. She's literally done what I'm going to talk you through now with these 5 steps. This is my offer, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm going to help people in these times with my skill set. 35 grand in 24 hours. Across 2 days, she'd done nearly 70k, and she's on track to do what she calls 𝗓𝗓 million kroner, because it's Danish kroner that she operates in, so I'm trying to work out what it is in dollars, but 𝗓𝗓 million kroner by the end of the month, which is her big goal. And she's on track for that. She's no different to you. She's just following these things, taking action and not letting fear get the better of her. And I'm going to share these 5 things with you now. 5 things that you absolutely have to do right now if you're an online business owner that wants to thrive through these uncertain, crazy times and not just survive them. That's boring. No one just wants to survive them and come out the same as they were before or a little bit worse off. We want to be grabbing it by the balls and thriving through these times. There are lots of businesses right now that are thriving. Coaches, consultants, trainers, online teachers, people that have online courses and digital assets that can be sold online. People that are helping people to make money or save money. They're absolutely thriving right now. And if you're one of those people, this is how they're thriving. This is why they're thriving. Not everybody is. But it's not down to the current climate, it's not down to Corona, it's down to the person's state of mind, their action plan and how quickly they're adapting. I'm going to help you action quick, fast, and adapt quick and fast right now. So, number 1. Have you got pen and paper? Tell me if you've got pen and paper. Type in the chat box, I'm ready if you're ready. I'm not actually going to start until you tell me you're ready, because this is important stuff. There's no point you just logging in. Logging in and listening to me won't be enough. Comment, tell me you're ready. Do you remember Jim Rohn? I'm ready. I love that guy. I'm ready. Jackie, let's go. Who else is ready? Kerry, yes. Good. Let's do it. Becky, okay, you're all ready. Number 1. The two P's that are going to save your freaking life in these times of building an online business: planning and productivity. Oh my God, will the cracks show for the people that don't have an airtight planning and productivity system that you use weekly, that serves you, that gets the best out of your time, that sees you be disciplined and organised and habitual in your way of working. Because the cracks show in times like this. It's easy when it's easy. When the shit hits the fan and you've got children to homeschool, you can't get to the supermarket at a normal time, or you've got to plan your life in a way that you didn't before. Maybe you're looking after neighbours and vulnerable people around you and going out and getting shopping, and you've become maybe a carer overnight. Like, all these things will be happening around you, and routines will be changing, and you might have wives and husbands in the house that weren't in the house before, doing your head in and getting in your space and all of that stuff that's happening. Planning and productivity absolutely needs to be spot on, like it never has been before. So let's talk about what that might look like. Do you plan your week every week? Do you sit down at the start of the week on a Sunday, or latest first thing Monday morning? Sunday's probably the better day to do it. And do you plan your time for the week and say, right, this is what I need to do and these are the times that I need to do it? Because really, without that, what's going to happen is your attention and focus is going to be torn and moved in loads of different directions right now, because you're going to be distracted more than you've ever been distracted right now, because there's just more things to distract you. So unless you've got a really airtight planning system that works, honestly, I could not be without my planner. And if I didn't have my planning time each week, I honestly wouldn't know where I needed to be or what I needed to achieve. So I'm going to give you some very quick tips on planning and productivity. The first thing is, know what you want to achieve in the week. What's the goal for the week? Because there's no point in having a goal for the year, a goal for the next 5 years, a goal for the month, but not knowing what needs to happen in the week that builds into these bigger goals. So the first question you need to be asking yourself at the start of the week is, what do I want to achieve this week? What's my goal for the week? And it might be in monetary value, it might be in the amount of clients you want to have in, or it might be in tasks that you need to achieve to be on track for those other things. And keep it simple. Massive to-do lists and massive achievement lists just feel really overwhelming. So just pick like 1 to 3 things that you absolutely want to nail that week. Then the things that go in the diary for that week need to be directly relevant to those things. Now, I would say plan hour by hour, because if you know what needs to be achieved in those hours, some of it might be homeschooling between these times, it might be doing the shopping for the neighbour between these times, it might be whatever it might be. The point is, although some of you have got more distractions, a lot of you have actually got more time than you've ever had, because you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. So your social time has suddenly become non-existent. So what can you do with this extra time? So where you used to maybe have like 4 or 5 hours a day to play with if you're a part-time entrepreneur, or 7 to 9 hours to play with if you're a full-time entrepreneur, you've now got more hours to play with. I use a normal diary, Caroline. Yeah, I just use a normal page to view diary that has got, mine breaks it down in half an hour slots. So at the beginning of the week, I can say, right, and you can use highlighters for this. It's a great exercise. If you grab your highlighter and say, right, yellow is for downtime or homeschooling, or green is for self-development, and pink is for work time, like income producing activities. And you can block out the time so you know exactly when you look at it what time is for what. Decide your shift patterns ahead of time and decide that those are your shift patterns, and that you're going to be disciplined in that time, but you're also going to be disciplined in your switch off time. Because when you're working from home with loads of people maybe under one roof that aren't normally under one roof, it's really easy for everything to just spill into one. You need to designate your workspace and designate your work time, because those two things, if they start blurring into one another, you'll feel like everything just meshes in. There's no downtime, there's no go time. You burn out really, really quickly. So that's just some key things to remember with your planning and productivity. Number two of 5, routines. new and old. This is really important because your routines are going to be messed with. Some routines will serve you, some habits will serve you, and some will completely move you away from your goals. So let's think about what they might be for a minute. And here's some trends that I've spotted recently. People are checking the news more than they've ever checked the news. This is a routine that maybe isn't serving you. So if you're getting up in the morning and instead of listening to a meditation or an inspirational YouTube video or going for a run or whatever you used to do in your morning routine, if you're going, what's going on in the world today, and hitting the news, or going to 𝗯𝘂𝗀𝗶𝗃 to see how many people have died in the last 24 hours, you're not starting your day in the way that you used to. So you can't expect to be as full of motivation and inspiration. Routines and disciplines, habitual practices become so much more important in times of adversity. So what routines do you have? Ask yourself this, because success is built on routines. Fact. You know, if you think about this, when you arrive at your place of success, when you arrive at your desired income level, it doesn't just happen one day where you suddenly wake up and you get this message from God that says, today's the day that everything changes. There's not one moment, is there, where you're like, what I'm saying is, days where success is created, they seem like any other day, don't they? They don't seem any different. When I look back, there was no one day where everything changed for me. There was no one moment or one piece of activity that I did that just, boom, transformed my life. It was a series of little habits, routines every single day that are so small and seemingly insignificant that they're really easy to not do. And that's why most people don't have success, because they're so small and significant that they seem unimportant. But those two things aren't the same. Small and seemingly insignificant do not mean unimportant at all. Success is built on the little things that you do every day. It's not built on the one big thing that you did. How many success stories do you hear that say, I did this one big thing and bam, overnight, my whole life transformed? You don't hear stories like that. If you listen carefully to successful people, what they're telling you is that their days look very different to an unsuccessful person's, because they were built up of different activities, different routines, different habitual practices. I want you to ask yourself right now, what are your disciplines, your habitual practices that will see you going in the direction of a successful person? Little things like, how do you start your day? Do you have a morning routine? Can you still do your morning routine? I've had to change my morning routine because my morning routine consisted of going out straight away. Pretty much when I woke up, I'd get my headphones in and I'd go out for long walks. I can't do that anymore because I'm not allowed. But rather than going, well, that's it, then I can't do it, so I'll just replace it with the news, I've thought, okay, what was it about that routine that really worked for me? It was being out in nature, it was getting the endorphins moving, it was starting my day in a way that felt really productive. What can I do instead? Well, I can go out into the garden, first of all, and I can walk around the garden. So where I used to be walking around the countryside, now I can walk around the garden. I can still listen to the things I was listening to when I'm walking. I can still immerse in self-development. And I can still be in nature. It just means that I've got to be out in the garden instead. What is it for you? Like, what routines need to be embedded? Most people's routines have changed. I just shared with you about the new addition to our family and how I'm going to be homeschooling my little baby. So I've had to make adjustments in some of my routines. The core habitual practices that absolutely have to get done are still getting done. But it just means that they're getting done in maybe different times and different ways and in different orders. And James and I are having to work together more because it's like, right, you're on baby duty. Now I'm on baby duty. So we're having to plan together on a Sunday. We didn't do that before. I used to plan and he would plan, and we knew what hours we were working and we'd make it work and we'd have a brief chat. But this week we've had to sit down, we've had to plan our time together as a couple and say, when are you doing things and when am I doing things, to make sure that our daily routines, the things that are important, are still in there, but they're in a way that works for our household. So who do you need to enlist the help of with these routines and disciplines? And what do you need to stop doing? Like if there's a certain friend that you're talking to and they're taking you down below sea level every time you talk to them because they're negative and they're worried about dying and all of these other things that that might not be serving you. What are you watching on the TV that might not be serving you? Really funny, my mum will kill me for telling you this, but I think Boris Johnson has been talking at 5 p.m. UK time, the Prime Minister, every day about updates and how devastating the world is right now. And I'd call my mum at like 5:10, and she'd be like a different person. Like, what did you do with my positive mother? She was like, hello, are you all right? You have been staying in, haven't you? Did you go to the supermarket today? Did you wash your hands when you were there? And I know that she's got a right to be cautious and she loves me, but I could always tell when she'd been listening to the news, and I'd be like, do you know what, Mum? I'm going to call you back before 5 o'clock. If you're going to insist on watching that shit, then I'm not going to be talking to you after it. And that was just what, and she laughed. She was like, you're right, it's this time of day every day because that's what I'm focusing on. Look, we know what's going on in the world. There's a virus, right? There's a virus, and it's life-threatening to people that have underlying health conditions. And because of that, we've all got to do our bit to protect those people. So we're being asked to stay indoors and go out as little as possible and not socialise. Some people are being told they absolutely cannot leave their house, like me. And we can't even go in the car together. Only one person can leave to go and get food supplies and come back, and you have to have a bloody good reason. Because Spain have given out more fines than people that have got coronavirus. Literally, that fact, they have. And the fines up to €60,000. They're big, hefty fines. They have come in hard. And I don't blame them. They're trying to stamp it out, and they're using force to do it. I know that. I don't need to keep watching the figures. I don't need to keep looking at the news to know that I've got to stop in. I've just got to stop in. So I might as well fill myself up with positive stuff rather than keep looking at all the negative shit. And I would definitely recommend it because it's a much nicer way of being. And if there's people around you that insist on doing it, then how are you going to build a routine that limits your time with those people? Or how are you going to get them on board to embed better routines? What else could you be doing instead of talking about that shit? Now let's get into the business. Number 3, you need to review your ideal client right now, because businesses are thriving, online businesses are thriving, bigger than ever before. I've just given you a couple of examples at the start of this video. My business and one of my clients' businesses that has just absolutely boomed. Overnight, not because it just happened, but because we did something. She did something. The first thing she did is she reviewed her ideal client. Now, your ideal client still exists, correct? Give me some hearts if your ideal client still exists. Of course they do. They haven't disappeared overnight. They're still there, and they still need you. The reason that the lady I've been sharing with you at the start of the video is so successful is because, do you know what she's done? She's stepped into the shoes of her ideal client. She's almost embodied her. And she's gone, what is she worrying about today that she maybe wasn't worrying about a few weeks ago? How is she feeling today that's different to maybe just a few weeks ago? What problems has she got today? Look, great entrepreneurs don't get obsessed by their service. They get obsessed by the need to deliver for their ideal client. They fall in love with their ideal client. They don't fall in love with the service. I love my ideal client. I can bend, shape shift, change my offer over and over again. I'm not attached to it. What I deliver for my ideal client is good. It has to be. But that's not what I'm in love with. I'm in love with her. The female entrepreneur, the online soul-driven business owner that can create an impact in the world with her business and just needs to know how. That's what I'm in love with. However I need to help her is however I need to help her. I'm open to that changing. If I notice she needs something different, then I can change my offer tomorrow because I'm not attached to it. You have to be unattached to the offer and detached, I don't know, whatever. You've got to be completely attached to the person. Becky, I'm glad you feel loved because you are. It's Becky I love. You know, it's the people that you can see logged in here that already work with me. That's what I give a shit about. What I offer can change overnight if she needs it to, because it's about seeing her win. So what this lady's done, what my one-to-one client's done, she stepped into their ideal client's shoes and she's gone, what's she worrying about? What's keeping her awake at night? How can I serve? How can I help her now? What does she need from me? How does she need me to be better? How does she need me to deliver for her in a way that I didn't have to a few weeks ago? Because people still have problems. What we do here is we profitable problem solve. That's what we do. We solve problems and we make profit from it. Oh, I love you girls. Feeling the love. That's what we do. People still have problems right now. They still need you to solve them. They need you more than ever, because you are a light in uncertain times. You're the calm in the storm. You're the hope when people feel scared. That's you for your ideal client right now. Whatever it is that you offer, you can tweak it and change it so that they feel supported and they've got one less problem because they've got you. You all have the ability to do that, every single one of you. It's time to step into their shoes and ask yourself what's going on. I could give you 1,000,001 examples of how you can do this. Write her a letter. Maybe write her a letter. Sit down with a notepad and a pen and write to her and say things like, I know how you're feeling. I know this is what's going on for you. I see that this is what you're struggling with. I understand this is what you're worrying about. I'm here to help you and here's what I'm going to do. It helps you get clarity because you connect with her. I sometimes do videos that are just from me to me, really. But I'll prop the camera up and I'll pretend I'm having a conversation with her and I'll say, I see you. I understand this is what's going on for you. And I just take a minute to really connect. You should be revisiting your ideal client on a regular basis anyway, because it evolves. Your image of them evolves. Their needs evolve because times change, people change. Now is a really good time to be doing it because your ideal client is evolving. Their needs are evolving. Things have changed. Do you know what? A really interesting conversation today with someone, because this is about your state of mind. You've got to have it to give it. So if you're feeling scared and you're withdrawing right now, the last thing we just talked about, routines, disciplines, habits, that's where your focus needs to be, because you've got to have it to give it. So how can you be stepping into someone's shoes and be in a place of serving and being just the strength for people that need you if you're stuck in fear, watching the news, thinking, oh my God, I'm preparing for disaster? I was chatting to a client of mine this morning and she was like, oh God, Michelle, she was in a state of panic. And she said to me, all my clients are going to start cancelling because they can't afford to pay the bills, because their jobs might have been affected, their businesses might have been affected. And she's like, disaster, disaster, disaster. And I said, okay, how many clients have you got right now? She said 20, I've got 20 clients. I said, and how many have actually cancelled or said that they can't pay you? Well, two have messaged and said, okay, so 2 out of the 20. Okay, so 10% of your clients right now you know are affected. How many of your clients normally have a problem with paying you? Because there's always a percentage of that. How many of your clients normally have things that come up that affect your service and your agreement? And she said, oh, I'm not sure. I said, well, is it roughly 2 out of 20? Is it normally 10%? Is it less than that? Is it higher than that? She was like, I'd have to check. I said, can you check for me, please? She was like, yeah, okay, I'll check. So she goes away, comes back. She's like, Michelle, it's normally about 10%. I was like, oh, okay, so nothing actually significant has happened here. But let's say it changes to 20% in these times, because there might be some people that are affected. How can we increase your revenue by 40% so that you don't even feel that? Let's focus on that instead of, oh my God, people aren't going to be able to pay. Because that's a much nicer thing to focus on, and we can control that. We can adapt, tweak your strategy so that you have an increase of 40% in your business right now. Of course we can. You can do everything and anything if there's a plan for it. So that's what we focus on, rather than going, oh God, winter's coming. Because when you're in that state, you haven't got it to give it, and your clients need you. So you need to have it to give it. You need to be filling yourself up with the good stuff. You need to be in a place of certainty and determination and motivation. You can't be in a place of fear. That's not you. That's not who you are. It creates a ripple effect. Because imagine you've got a long line of service providers, and one provides a service to the other, who provides a service to someone else, who provides a service to someone else, and one of them starts panicking going, oh shit, winter's coming, I can't pay you, and the other one goes, oh fuck, she can't pay me, winter's coming, I can't pay you. And before you know it, everyone's freaking out and thinking that no one can pay each other, and nothing even fucking happened yet. It takes somebody like you to go, enough. What's actually happening here? How can I increase my business so that I can put a stop to this chain of events right now? How can I look at my ideal client and say, what's going on for you, and how can I be more of a service to you right now? How can I help you in a way that maybe you didn't need me to help you a few weeks ago, but you do right now? How can I adapt what I'm offering? Which is point 4. You've got to review your offer. Is what you're offering still relevant right now? Is it what your ideal client wants and needs and is prepared to part with their money for? Have people's priorities changed? Absolutely. Might they be feeling a bit more frugal? When winter comes, buy a thick winter coat and crack on. Yes, Sylvia, I couldn't agree more. You are absolutely my kind of woman. But that's what we got to do. There's no point in all running around going, winter's coming in a t-shirt, is there? Got to get prepared. We've got to adapt the way we're doing things. So look at your offer. Is what you're offering right now a priority for your ideal client? You've just stepped into the shoes, you've embodied how they're feeling, you're in their head, you're in the place where you really understand them, you've maybe done a brainstorm and thought, and you've written down all the things they're struggling with and all the different ways that their problems are showing up for them. So now you look at your offer and you go, is this still relevant? Is this still what they need? And it might be. And great if it is. Like everything I offer was still totally relevant when I did this process. In fact, my ideal client needs me more than ever right now, because if they're freaking out and they need to scale their online business fast, if husbands or partners are losing jobs or whatever, they need to up-level their income faster than ever before. They need support more than ever before. So my offer was still relevant, so it didn't need changing. Is yours? Does it need to change? Does it need to tweak slightly? Like, look at it. Because you're in love with the ideal client, not the offer, so you've got to be flexible in that. But it might need to stay exactly the same. The thing that might need to change is point 5, which is your marketing message. Is it still relevant? You can't expect to just keep churning out what you were churning out a month ago and like ignore it like nothing's happening in the world. Speak to it. Speak to the problem. Make your messaging more relevant. If you were somebody that 2 months ago was saying that you were a VA offering VA services to a busy entrepreneurial woman, and you were talking about all the problems she was facing a month ago, you're still a VA offering VA services to this busy entrepreneurial woman. The entrepreneur hasn't changed, the client hasn't changed. You might need to rethink where her head's at and then speak to that more powerfully in your marketing message, because now you might be saying, you're preparing for a boom in your business because I know that you have opportunity everywhere around you right now because the world's gone crazy and you're looking for crazy success, and I know exactly how to help you get it. As a VA, this is what I can help you with. Like, we need to be adapting the way we're speaking to our audience versus what they're thinking. What your audience is thinking this month compared to last month has without a doubt changed. Therefore, your marketing message absolutely has to. Jennifer, I know you have. And you've done an amazing job of that over the last few days. You've done a really good job of it, and I want to acknowledge that. I think we talked about it briefly on the call earlier, but we definitely didn't give you all the praise that you deserve, so I'm giving it to you now. Jennifer's done a really good job of this recently, of just kind of looking at the situation and saying, she needs me to speak, her ideal client needs her to speak a different language right now. She needs her to use different words to describe the problem. See, what we're always doing as business owners is we're helping people solve problems. And we're getting noticed by them by describing their problem to them so that they can notice us. People's problems have changed. The way they're describing them, the words they're using to describe them may have changed. Your ideal client's way of describing their problem has changed. So you've got to speak to that. You've got to be able to speak to the problem that they're going through right now. I was going to share an example of this actually. I won't use you, Jennifer, because you've not given me permission to do that. In terms of like, I want to share an example of somebody's ideal client that shifted and how they've gone through this process. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share a different example. And the example that I'm going to use is a travel coach that I work with. So she helps travel businesses to increase their revenue. She is someone that shows travel businesses in particular how to use social media to attract their ideal clients easily, so that they develop a steady flow of new clients but also existing repeat business each year, so that they've got constant bookings coming in for their travel business. That's what she does. So the travel business has been hit really hard with the virus. So when I look down this list, I'm going to tell you what this girl's done. Step 1, planning and productivity. She's got another income stream to her business, her own travel business, because she runs a travel business as well as training people how to run their travel business. So what she's done is she's scaled down the travel business time in her planning and scaled up the coaching time, because she knows that her ideal client needs her more than ever right now, because her ideal client's freaking out and doesn't know how to fix some of the problems that she's having. So she's planned it. The routines and the new ways of working that she's embedded in. She's got children off school. They're just going into lockdown in the country that she's in. So she's in the house now with children, husband, working in ways that she's not used to working. So she's had to have almost like a family meeting and establish the routines and the way they're going to work, and make sure that she's got the daily habits and disciplines embedded. She's made sure that everything she did to be successful, she's continuing to do to be successful in her routines, like her morning mindset routine, etc. Point 3, she's reviewed her ideal client. She's stepped into the shoes of her ideal client, and she's saying to herself, how is this travel business CEO feeling now? Because like a month ago, she was talking about saving time. She was talking about getting your clients coming to you using social media. She's talking about stuff that is still relevant, but it's not what's on her mind. Because what's on her mind now is, what am I going to do? Because no one's booking holidays, and I can't even book holidays for people. So she stepped into her ideal client's shoes, and she's like, what's on this person's mind now? She brainstormed it all out, and she realised that as soon as people can book travel again, there's going to be this boom, because all these people that have been cabin fevered like me, I can't fucking wait to book my holidays. I can't wait. I'm stopped. I can't go to India. I'm meant to be going to India on Friday, and I can't go. And I'm already feeling like I need to move, because I'm a proper gypsy at heart. Like, I have to roam around and be free. So the second that I get wind that I can get back on a flight, like, I want to travel. I bet you guys are probably feeling the same. Like, when you can suddenly, and it might not be right now that you're feeling it, but in a few weeks of being cooped up and not being able to go out, and you're going to start feeling the need to spread your wings and fly. So we know that the travel business is expecting to have this huge surge when all this stuff calms down. So she's directly talking to that in her mind. Her offer's still the same, because she's helping travel businesses thrive and get bookings, but she's changing it slightly. She's tweaked her offer a little bit to help people build online travel businesses and embed better ways of working online. And she's talking in her marketing message, point 5, about how the travel industry is going to see this boom, and how you need to be at the forefront of that boom, and you need to be ready for it, because things change in 24 hours. We've seen it. Lockdown happened in 24 hours. Flights were grounded in 24 hours. Flights are going to go back up that quick as well, and it's all going to be released quick. So when you see that coming, you've got to be the sort of travel business is like ready for the boom and ready to go and maximise on it really, really quickly, where other people are still going, oh shit, it's go time. So she's talking about this in her front-end marketing. It wasn't relevant a few weeks ago, but it's relevant now. She's adapted quickly. She's using her isolation time, her lockdown time to nail this stuff, and you can too. So I want you to do something for me. Tell me below what your action plan is as a result of what we've talked about today. What are you going to do from points 1 to 5 to make sure that you are maximising on this really exciting time? 1, planning productivity. 2, routines and habits. 3, revisit your ideal client. 4, revisit your offer. 5, revisit your marketing message to make sure that you're articulating in the language that they're using what their problem is and how you can solve it. That's me. I'm going to eat dinner.